Mambo Vipi, what's happening? My name is Anyiko, Owoko, and I am a lover of arts, culture, and everything African. And here, we grant you front row access to your favorite celebrities, creators, the biggest personalities, and industry experts. Come with me. You're now a VIP. This is what to expect on this week's episode.
When you compare Kenya and the rest of the globe, sort of like our releases are very minimal, which means when we get on the negotiating table, we have to work twice as hard to build a case for East Africa.
When you join CMOs, the collective management organizations, you are thrown to where the politics is really hot. So it was baptism by fire into this industry that I always wanted to work in. The music streaming side has been very insightful since I started working in it. I have learned so much about not just the politics of the Kenyan music industry, but just how to touch artists' lives and enrich their experiences with the platform.
Sometimes you are just like, as an artist, I'm talented, people will listen. Even your village people, they're not listening to your music. So ask yourself, why? Some of the things that we look out for as DSPs, Africans, we are highly visual. Like we see things first, then we consume. So do you have available assets, your artworks, your photos? Sometimes we ask photos from artists and you just take a selfie and say, use that.
Happy New Year, guys. Oh my God. When was the last time we talked? When was the last time we exchanged right here on VIP Access? I am so excited to be back. It's been more than a year, and I know a lot of you are wondering what happened to the podcast, what happened to Anyiko. Nothing really happened. I was busy working, being a mother to a brand new kid who is now of a 1-year-old, but also I was busy building. And welcome back to VIP Access Podcast. I'm so excited to launch a brand new season in 2026, a season that is powered by Industry Talks, my platform dedicated to unpacking real issues, opportunities, and business behind Kenya's creative economy. So just a little bit of a backstory to Industry Talks. This is my passion project. It's my baby and a space I created in 2019. And you know what happened during COVID? So Industry Talks was revived back in 2024 and 2025 with the support of Goethe Institute Nairobi. We've done over around 12 events so far. And today we've grown into one of Kenya's most trusted platforms when it comes to professional development, knowledge exchange, and cross-sector collaboration. This is really my next frontier. This is the next move for me. I think a lot of people have been telling me over the years that you're amazing, the things you've done in the PR scene, But I've never really felt that I've, made that impact that made me happy. But getting into Industry Talks and doing this kind of workshops and trainings and talks and events that empower artists is now making me feel like I'm doing important work. So basically, over the past couple of years, we've had different events, and every edition stayed true to one mission: finding sustainable solutions to the challenges that we're facing as creatives, be it an artist, be it a stylist, being a music producer, anyone in the creative space. Industry Talks wants you to be empowered and to thrive in your hustle. So this season of VIP Access is going to be different. It's not what you guys have experienced before. We will be taking you to the industry, through the Industry Talks. We're going to understand how the industry really works, who's driving it, what does it offer, and what we must build, what we must do to move the industry forward, collectively and you as an individual. You'll hear from people who are shaping our cultural landscape every single day, from music producers, directors, executives, actors, stylists, entertainment lawyers, podcasters, broadcasters, curators, event organizers, and of course, some of your favorite artists. We can't have VIP access without your favorite artists. And I also didn't want a situation where we have experts sitting and talking to artists. or creatives, and the creatives and artists themselves are not involved in the conversation. It's not possible to talk about IP or management, music distribution without having the artist involved. So every single conversation will have an artist involved. Excited to let you guys know that our very first event of the year, Industry Talks, will be happening at the Goethe Institute this week on Thursday. It's going to be 15th of January, so come through. The discussion of this week will be event production, artist bookings, and fun experience. We have a really great environment where you get to meet other industry professionals, not just the experts, and it's going to be fun. I'll be there myself. Cannot wait to see you guys. Season 5 of VIP Access is all about unfiltered, practical, and future-focused conversations. We're talking policy, we're talking industry structure, we're talking about the real issues creatives are facing and the real systems we need to strengthen our industry. From music distribution and intellectual property to writing for film and TV, licensing music, publishing, festival curation, podcasting, and building sustainable digital and entrepreneurial careers, this season is designed to inform, sharpen, inspire, and empower everyone working to grow the industry, not just in Kenya, but in Africa at large. So make sure at the end of this episode, you share with us feedback if this is speaking to you, if there's something you've learned, and yeah, let's get into it. So as we kick off this first episode, I want to dive into something every artist and creator always is asking about: streaming, music streaming. Right now, music streaming has the potential to be one of the biggest revenue drivers for artists. But the truth is, for most emerging and mid-level creatives, that isn't the reality. What I've learned from years of working in the industry is that building streaming revenue takes more than simply uploading a song. It's about protecting your work, your intellectual property, your compositions, and making sure you're registered in the right places so that when your music moves, your money moves with it. The context to our conversation today. The topic is streaming revenues and music distribution. Revenues from music streaming have the potential for being an artist's biggest earner. But this is not always the case for the majority of artists and creators, especially those with less streams. So many times, artists have been advised to spend more effort in marketing and PR to boost their distribution channels and their streams. But only a few of the A-list top streamers can rely on their music royalties. Music streaming, however, still represents the industry's greatest prospective source of revenue. So today we want to discuss what are your rights as an emerging artist when it comes to streaming royalties. What do you need to do to protect your IP and music compositions? But most importantly, how can you leverage on your online data and analytics across your platforms for worldwide growth or maximum returns? Sitting next to me is Beth Achitsa. And Beth Achitsa is from The Orchard. Have you guys heard about The Orchard? Yes, we have. So Beth is a music executive currently heading The Orchard's East Africa office. She oversees The Orchard's operations in the East Africa region, leading on artist sign-ups, strategy and development, and the distribution of artist music on different platforms. And then next to Beth, we have Martha Huro. Martha is known in the industry as an essential connection in the music business ecosystem. She's an experienced marketing specialist with a demonstrated history in the IT, music, and service industries. Her contribution to the growth of the user artist database and partnerships has been vital in East Africa. She has received many accolades, among them the Business Daily Top 40 Under 40 in 2021 for her role as a mover and shaker in the music industry. Last but not least is Agnes Opondo. She's a seasoned music executive and entertainment journalist, bringing a wealth of expertise in A&R and entertainment reporting to her roles. She orchestrates discussions with top 100 artists and content partners. Alongside her licensing responsibilities, Agnes is a prolific entertainment writer, lending her insights to publications like Kenyan Vibe and Tangaza magazine. In case you are an artist or work with artists, Kenyan Vibe is an entertainment website that houses only Kenyan news. Make sure you send your news to Kenyan Vibe. Agnes's profound commitment to the Kenyan entertainment industry is matched only by her acute awareness of the latest trends shaping the Kenyan and African showbiz. And without further ado, I think I would like to have you guys speak. Take us through why you ended up in music distribution. What's your feeling about where you're at and this topic of today?
Thank you, Anyiko, and thank you everyone for creating the time. I think when we see you gathered here, it just means we are all aiming for the same thing, which I still believe education is a key part of the work that we do. As Anyiko mentioned, my name is Beth Achitsa. I have been in the music industry for some time. I started off working with just a band. And then I ended up organizing one of the leading music conferences here, which was called Ongea. And the aim for this was really to export Kenyan music to the global world. So I think based on that, my role evolved and I ended up at the Orchard, where I have been for the last 6 years. So the Orchard, as Anyiko mentioned, is a global company with presence in 47 markets. In Africa, we have offices in South Africa and Nigeria. And we are looking forward to launch in Kenya in terms of physical space. But I am here looking after, the wider East Africa. So I am interfacing with artists here in Kenya, but as well as talking to them frequently from Tanzania, Ethiopia, and, the rest of East Africa. I think the joy of just like working for a distribution is I came from a place where I was working towards exporting. And sometimes when you're traveling globally, people are likely to say, are you a runner? What else do you do? And then your story or your obligations become more. You have to explain to them, yes, Kenya is well known for running, but we also have amazing music. We have amazing filmmakers. We have amazing fashion designers. And I think just when you think about distribution, it's sort of like it gives us a level playing field. There's no reason why we are not actively participating on the global scene when you compare to our brothers and sisters in South Africa or Nigeria. So I think my mandate at the Orchard, it is always to empower. The Orchard was started to cater for independent artists. And that is something that I think sort of like aligns with this market because Kenya is a very do-it-yourself type of market. So as a person who has access and we are always interfacing with teams from across the continent and across the globe, it's really to also learn the best practices on the other side and see what we can learn from them. And I think part of my job, because when you ask someone what is a music distributor, it's nothing sexy. All we do is it's a patch to, partners like Boomplay or Mdundo to make sure that your fans have access to your music. But it is the extra effort that we put in that differentiates a music distributor from a record label. We are not a record label that will do artist management for you. So it always means when you're looking for these partners, you already have to have your team built. So I think just like in terms of working at the Orchard, I see myself at a vital place because I know more often we have this conversation of what is the Kenyan sound. I think there's a Kenyan sound. It's just we're not amplifying it a lot. And that cannot happen if we as the artist, we as the music distributors, and the platforms are not joining effort. So we really have to work together because it's not like when you sign to the Orchard, your battles are won. No, it is the start of a wonderful journey that includes, long hours and just like tapping into the other systems that are available. So this evening, I'm happy to talk about, strategies and tips of what we're seeing other people in different markets and what we can do back home so that, we grow the pie. Because sometimes there's the conversation of where is East Africa on the global map? There's something happening on the ground. We just need to push more.
Hi, everybody. My name is Martha Huro, and my market is East Africa. Some of the things or some of the key learnings that I've had along the way have been the challenges that we face in the music industry are actually boiled down to three. Number one being policy. We've had a lot of issues with policy, starting from the Copyright Act that we have. I'm sure Agnes will cover that extensively. It's a problem because as much as you've registered your IP, you can't walk into a bank and get a loan against your IP. But you can do the same with your title deed or your logbook. Essentially, they're both pieces of papers that are legal papers, but that can be done. Also, if somebody samples your music and they don't say please or thank you, by please is, please can I use your music? And you say, okay, fine, you're my G, use. Thank you is you pay the person. The most that you can do that is covered by law is just tell them stop doing it. So you send them a cease and desist. If you take them to court, we have less than 10 IP lawyers in Kenya. That number is even lower for IP judges because IP falls under civil suit or civil court. So it's just treated like something petty, whereas it's a criminal activity. I'm also the vice chair for PAP, Partners Against Piracy. We did a report in 2022, and the Kenya creative industry is losing 252 million per day to piracy. So we are in music, you're in film, you're in fashion, you're in gaming. We're all losing money as stakeholders and also as content creators or artists. So the most that you can tell this person who's pirating your music is get my music on all other DSPs, controlled, or you tell them where to get your music. We'll, of course, get into that. Number two would be education. As I said, we have less IP lawyers and judges. As an artist also, do you know how to run your talent as a business? And do you know how to package your content? Do you know who to actually go to for what? For social media, for PR, IP lawyers as well. Do you even know your rights? What is IP? Or how can I register my IP? How do I make it legal? So we don't have such. And of course, starting from curriculum and out of curriculum. Number three will be finance. We've had some distributors, some DSPs also investing in the craft of artists. We've seen quite a number of releases, especially during the Corona period. We got a lot of people dropping albums. So it was quite encouraging. And now we have more and more people dropping songs because as far as data is concerned, Kenya has the least number of releases in comparison to our counterparts in Tanzania, Ghana, and Nigeria. Of course, we'll dive into that. And my reason to accept this panel today is essentially to have those conversations that really need to be had, but either are not had or they are had with certain people and not all people. So how do I, as an artist, make more money from streaming platforms? Because there's a lot of money to be made. How do I interpret my data? Because there's a lot of data, but then the problem is it's not properly interpreted because, maybe people don't know how to interpret it or essentially they don't have access to that data. And then how can we as platforms and artists come together to ensure that this pie that Beth spoke about is properly eaten? Because it's quite a lot. Of course, it's not only streaming. There are other things that partner with streaming platforms to make it a success. People are releasing music on digital and it's, high flying, on ground as well. I mean, just the same way traditional media is not dead. From a marketing background, you still also have to go on ground and meet your fans. So essentially, I'm excited to be here and explain to you what streaming is all about and the ins and outs, and at least give you a more Kenya so that there's hacking here and there, right?
Hello, everyone. My name is Agnes. I started working as a member relations officer at PRISC. I don't know if you people know Performers' Rights Society of Kenya. So I worked there for a while, and that was my introduction to the industry. It was very insightful. When you join CMOs, the collective management organizations, you are thrown to where the politics is really hot. So it was baptism by fire into this industry that I always wanted to work in. The music streaming side has been very insightful since I started working in it. I have learned so much about not just the politics of the Kenyan music industry, but just how to touch artists' lives and enrich their experiences with the platform. And my fellow panelists have really given detailed insights on whatever we are here to discuss. But just to add on to what I will be talking about or what I'm excited to share, I think a lot of artists do not want to explore markets outside Nairobi. So once you perform at Blankets or you become this big star in Nairobi or your song gets 1 million views on YouTube, you think you've made it. But what about that fan in Kisumu who doesn't know you? So mass market, I was telling someone yesterday, it's not an easy audience to understand because your song will go viral on TikTok and mass market will come and consume. They're not sophisticated, I listen to jazz, or they go with the wave. And because of that, it's really difficult sometimes to market to them. But we are really focused on not only just introducing artists to these markets, but also introducing clients because we make money through advertising, right? And we want these advertisers to understand that. Yeah, I'm really excited to be part of this panel. And I always look for an opportunity to also learn. And I can see my fellow panelists are very experienced, so I'm super excited about that. But I also want to give you more Kenya on, just as Martha has said, because many artists do not understand how badly DSPs want to make your lives easier. We want you to make that good money from streaming. Because I know data shows that for many artists, especially in East Africa, streaming is their least earner, despite the potential it has. So most of them make money from shows, brand endorsements, maybe merchandise, and then now streaming is at the bottom there. But streaming has a lot of potential. And personally, I have seen artists who have grown exponentially by just using the available tools that we have.
Thank you so much, Beth, Martha, and Agnes. So we want to deep dive into the topic and we want to talk about DSPs, which means digital service providers. This is the platforms where you actually go and listen to music from the Boomplays to Mdundo to Spotify, YouTube, or whichever. And I think this question goes to all of you because even for you, Beth, the day in, day out work you do requires for the artist that the Orchard is distributing to be discoverable. So this is a general question, like what is the best way to package your music to be discoverable on the DSPs? I mean, how many songs are being released per day or per week or per year? So something has to stand out. And what's the simplest way to answer the artists who are listening and watching?
I think I will take that. When you compare Kenya and the rest of the globe, sort of like our releases are very minimal, which means when we get on the negotiating table, we have to work twice as hard to build a case for East Africa. It's good that a lot of these entities are setting up in the region, but we also have to convince them that there's a business case for this region so that the next talented person is not thinking, should I move to South Africa so that I can make it? The report by Illuminate shows that there was at least 184 million tracks delivered to digital streaming platforms, right? Out of those 184, 79 million plus got 0 streams. Not even your sister or your cousin streamed your music. Yes. So what does that say? There's a lot of work. Like if there's 103,000 tracks every day being fed into the system, and tracks are identified in 2 ways. We have the unique product code. So if you have an EP, it will only be one unique product code, which we will always say UPC. And then each of the 7 tracks on your EP will have ISRCs. So for them to measure that, they used the ISRCs to say this is the number of content that is being fed into the digital streaming platforms. So what does that tell you as an artist? It means when you go to studio and you're recording, you're only doing 10%. Real work starts when you have the final product. And here is where we as music distributors have really awkward and funny conversations with you as artists. You've worked on your music for the last 3 months, and then Friday we're releasing, because Friday is when most platforms will update their playlist. You've worked for it over 3 months. You call me on Wednesday and say, hi, I would like my music to go out on Friday. How am I supposed to help you to stand out from the 103,000 other tracks that will be dropping on Friday, right? So 1, you're already making my problem difficult, or the challenges that you're going through to build that case. Remember, we've said for East Africa, everyone is looking here and they're like, oh, we want to build. But then we will have Nigeria with their 10 EPs every week, Kenya with 1. So 1, you have to convince investors why they should come. And then 2, because it's not planned, we have to act catch up. Because, like for platforms, and Martha, correct me if this is wrong, we need to at least talk to them 4 months in advance if you want to capitalize on the opportunities that they offer for marketing. That is 4 months. And then you call me on a Wednesday for a release on Friday. I mean, I won't say no, because there's the capability of it. Usually when you put your music in the system, at least within 48 hours, it should be out. But the reality is there's nothing I can do for you, right? So really, as an artist, you have to think about this matrix and what you need to do. Because I don't think there's ever a perfect marketing mix, but it's really about being efficient and effective. The one way, I don't know if any label person here can say, or anyone who owns a label, what is the perfect way to market your music? The effective way is actually word of mouth. Tell the next person, please go and stream After 2 by Bakita. It dropped today. That is like the one way to actually market. And when you show up at forums like this, that will give you at least 10 other people who will discover your music. So word of mouth is your key way of starting to market, which means if you wake up on Wednesday, you've not told enough people about your music. So your plan should actually have 3 parts. So there's the pre-release plan, during the release, and post-release. All of us wake up because we want music out on Friday. It's out. The only other conversation you and I are having is, why am I not on this playlist, right? We're not thinking about, oh, what was your music about? Technology has helped all of us to level the playing field. So production is not really a problem unless you leveled everything. What makes you stand out is your storytelling capabilities. If you're not telling your story, no one cares, because we all have 103 other tracks to check out. If someone is saying, I am the bare-footed diva, I am curious, I want to check out, right? When I'm checking out, what is the next thing that I want to see? What is your identity? Do you have strong visuals? If you don't have all these elements, it's sorry, and people move on to the next available artist. So really, there's a lot of work to be done. It's not just about us guys waking up. There's this thing where music drops on Friday. I don't know if we all understand why. why we are all dropping music on Friday. There's so many days in the week, but only Friday, that's when we drop music, right? So if your target is playlisting, then you have to actually consider the 4 months that we've said, because then me as your distributor, I'm consistently talking to Martha and saying, hey, what are the marketing opportunities for this artist? These are their numbers. This is what their plan is. This is how they plan to engage with fans. So if you're not doing that, then we're shooting ourselves in the feet. And the only conversation you and I, as your distributor, will have is why you're not on a playlist. And I will keep telling you, sorry, the platform didn't pick your song because, one, they would like to see how you're engaging your fan base, right? So those are just a few pointers to think about, and to also just like moving forward, how do you plan your releases and everything in between?
Why Friday, by the way?
So like with digital streaming playlist, which is the opportunity to market your songs, that happens on Fridays. But in a perfect world, you are supposed to use Fridays, Saturdays to market, because this is the time we all go out and we are at the club, you know, a few DJs who can plug your music. So that is the essence of actually doing Friday releases, so that you're warming up your people. If you have DJs, radio pluggers, and things like that, it gives you at least 3 days or so to market, because then all of us on Monday, we're not trying to discover music. I'm sorry, we have been partying on Saturday and Friday and Sunday. So we just want to chill out, and then we will pick up the momentum on Tuesday to discover music. So actively, people will tend to discover music around that time, because they know there's like a lot of music coming out, but there's also a lot of avenues in terms of networking and just like plugging your music.
Well, best way to package your music, I think it all starts from the first process, which is production. Gone are the days where your audiences or your fans used to listen to just about anything. Right now, fans are critical. They also have sonic ears. Like, you see, this one is not mixed and mastered right. You're like, okay, how did you know this? Right? And so it all starts from production. And as DSPs, essentially, as a supermarket, we are not supposed to care. But because we're in a market that is highly not organized, then we have to care. So as an artist, how have you produced your song? Is it properly mixed and mastered? Because also that's what your fans are looking out for. Now, once that is done, what is your go-to market strategy? Sometimes you are just like, as an artist, I'm talented, people will listen. Even your village people, they're not listening to your music. So ask yourself, why? Some of the things that we look out for as DSPs, Africans, we are highly visual. Like, we see things first, then we consume. So do you have available assets, your artworks, your photos? Sometimes we ask photos from artists and you just take a selfie and say, use that. Even the fan doesn't want to see you in your Shags Modo outfit. They want to see a star. So these assets, are they available? Naturally, East Africans, we are storytellers. We tell stories in our music. How about then you tell that story to your fans through your bio in the DSP or the snippet of the works that you're releasing, whether it's a single or an album or an EP? Do you tell that particular story? I mean, content is king, but context is King Kong. Nobody gives that context because we are fast moving. You just want to the next one and the next one. But the fans actually do care. Number 3 would be, how are you marketing? Beth mentioned pre, during, after. We are mostly concerned with pre and during. We never consider after. Like, once I've dropped my songs, then that's it. But from a DSP perspective, is highly algorithm based. If people are not streaming your music, then people are not searching your music, then you are not easily discoverable, or you're not in the first pages on DSPs, like categories or even playlists, system generated playlists, because they are based off of charts, which are based off of systems. So then, are you also telling people where to get your music? Most of the time when you release a song out now. From a marketing perspective, that is a, excuse my French, or is it German, shitty call to action. Like, what are you telling me? Out now. So, like, out now, where? Right? If you don't tell me where to get your music, I might go to a club, I Shazam the song, I like your song, I Shazam it, and then I know the title of the song, and then I go to Google and search. Now, that's where we have a lot of illegal sites. And that's where now your money goes. Then you come to DSPs and say, oh, you're not giving me my royalties. Yes, because even you yourself, you're not streaming your music. You've already been given the stats. How then do you package your music? You know, there are different avenues. It's not only streaming platforms. There's radio, there's TV, there's social media, for God's sakes. On TikTok right now, I can listen to your song, one song, 500 times in different versions. Are you using such opportunities? On digital, of course, the strategy for digital is different. Essentially, run your talent as a business. You know the way brands do advertising. Like Coke, even up to now, they do marketing activities. Why? And I mean, in terms of FMCG, they're the leading brand for drinks, but still, they have to invest in marketing. Now, my counterpart, Agnes, mentioned that most of us are centric in Nairobi. This is a fact that I discovered when I was looking at the data for Boomplay. Most of our stream users don't come from Nairobi. They come from Eldoret. Yes. Why? Eldoret has the most number of universities. Why? Most of the people who use streaming platforms are 18-year-olds to 25-year-olds. And these are the people in campuses. So essentially, don't think about niche marketing, as in, if I'm in Nairobi, then I'm good. No, we have 47 counties, right? And you need to be discoverable in all this. The other thing will be lyrics. I mean, I love your song. I don't want to be saying my own things, right? So give me the lyrics. You know the lyrics better. Let me not formulate my own lyrics. Most of the times, we don't get that from artists. As DSPs, that's something that we offer on the platform. So once you swipe left, you get the lyrics. But then we have to force the artist, or distribution partners have to force the artist to give the lyrics. Some of them even say, oh, I forgot. Oh, you forgot your own lyrics. Well, such is life. But it's actually important, because then it gives your fans a connection. Like, wow, I know this song. You know, like when we used to write those, well, I don't want to say my age, but when you used to write those letters in high school, then you do deads, right? You used to feel like a queen or a king when you write all those lyrics. It's still the same thing. It's still part of giving context to your craft. And then tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a whole village on where to get your music. Your music is out now. Get my music here, and just be crafty. You're an artist. You're a creator. You create. So be crafty. You don't need to say my music is out now. From a marketing perspective, you know, wase, yeah, mnanionaje, I'm here to drop a song or something. Well, I tried. But be creative. It's a process. Think about it from a business perspective. And number last will be invest in the marketing part. Right now we're seeing labels coming into the market. So that's essentially their work. But because our market is highly unorganized, me as an upcoming or an emerging artist, I'm also a label in my bedroom, right? I also have to invest in the marketing for the same, because then that will make me discoverable. Sometimes I tell people, artists take their songs as their babies, but sometimes your baby is ugly. I'm sorry, right? So then how do you package your ugly baby to make it? Because we've seen some ugly songs in our airwaves, yeah? And people actually, you know, it's cheeky, it's funny, but people are actually vibing to it. But then again, it's the investment that has gone to it. So I think that was what I would say on packaging.
Agnes, maybe I can throw another question to you and all of you. I'm an artist. I have dope artwork. I have great pictures. I maybe don't have a distributor. Maybe I'm distributing myself, but I have pitched in the back end of some of the DSPs. There are some DSPs where you can self-pitch. I think we can discuss that later. What are the other strategies that I should work on top of that? So, Beth, you say 4 months lead time. Some people do 4 weeks, some people do 2 weeks, some people do 2 days. And then what? You know, the song is out, and then what? What have been some of the winning strategies? You had some success stories. We see this, you awarding artists, 100 million streams. How did this happen? What do you think contributed to some of these success stories for the high streamers?
I always say, understand what opportunities are there first. Because there's a DSP that will put you on a billboard in New York, right? There's another DSP that maybe will help you organize a media tour, right? So once you understand what the different opportunities these DSPs have and you understand their audience, then you're able to have a better pitch and get better results. So for example, if I'm releasing a song that is a club banger, if I follow it up with a TikTok challenge, that is going to probably give me the virality I'm looking for.
And a partnership with TikTok, maybe.
Yes.
TikTok Kenya or TikTok Africa.
Yes. So once you understand what opportunities are there for you with the different DSPs, then you're able to get better results. You can't just assume that everything is all flat rate. And then also, because these DSPs are targeting different audiences, their marketing strategies are also curated to be attractive to these audiences. So don't just jump in and say, oh, everyone is doing a TikTok challenge, let me do. Everyone is putting the YouTube link, let me put. You have to first understand what you want and what opportunities are there. Then now you move from a point of knowledge.
I think just to add on that, most DSPs give you a backend. And there's an influx of data that you can decipher from that backend. Who is listening to your music? Where are they coming from? Which hours they're listening to your music? And when they're listening to your music. So that you don't only drop your music on Friday. Maybe your fans are listening to your music on Wednesdays or Mondays. So don't have a strategy of one size fit all. Custom make. Sometimes even the songs are not the same. Maybe this particular song is a love song. The next one is educational. The other one is just a feel-good song. You can't drop all of them on Friday, right? So strategies should be different once you interpret the data. And most of the DSPs, we train you on how to interpret that data. So as an artist, you can sign up on your user profile, and then your user profile is merged to your artist profile. That way, you can see on the app who is commenting. So people can comment, people can like, people can share. So as an artist, then you get to real-time interaction with your fans. You can also answer the questions that sometimes they have. Most of the times, they also like chats, to your fans, your mini gods. Like if a fan is to be interacted by an artist, they feel like, oh, you've made their day. That also gives you a lot of data. Sometimes it also tells you when or where to do your shows. Like if you realize that most of your streams are coming from Meru or Mwea, right? Then that means then you need to call a promoter and do a show there, right?
I think I was going to add, because when you hear both Martha and Agnes, what they're saying is there's a need for a team, right? Because you've had Agnes consistently say, oh, you need strategy, right? You're talented. Sometimes strategy is not your cup of tea. Try as much as you can. We're not saying you wake up and hire 10 people. It is expensive. people will be looking at you. But you start identifying what is your key platform, or, what is your immediate need, right? Sometimes it's because you do not have strong visuals. You don't know how to write an electronic press kit. So I think the immediate need would be for you to invest in someone within communication who can actually help you with your visual and storytelling, right? Because at the end of the day, there's some really basic things you can't do without as an artist. Because you have divided attention, you have to think, I need to be at studio at this time. Or also I saw there's an opportunity to perform at Gute, so I have to apply for that. And then you still have to do lyrics writing. It's very important, even in your early days, to actually have a sense of who is essential for your team. Even if it's just you and the other person, and both of you can complement each other, that is where you start from. Because there's no day when you wake up and you're just like an island and you're like doing everything, and then you expect to get to 1 million monthly listeners or 1,000 subscribers. Because, there are these metrics that you have to attain for monetization to start. So one is build your team. Once you've built your team, consistency is also essential, right? So we've put out an EP this Friday, and then the next time people will hear from us will be next May, and you're like, out now. Why should I care, right? I discovered other people along the way. We're not saying you put out an EP in May, and then in June you'll already have another album. That is also too much. The greatest weakness I see with a lot of people, one is we will do a lot of pre-plan, a week to release, and then we will have the fight about placements, and then you will give up. When you do not land on a playlist, it's not the end of the world. We actually tell artists, playlisting is not a strategy. It's sort of like builds up to the whole marketing mix. So playlisting should not just be your end goal, right? Today we released the music and you didn't end up on a playlist. I know Maya, who is one of our distributed partners, we've had these conversations, right? Which means we have to think forward. What else are you guys doing to just like promote, right? Do you have any other performances coming up? Is it creating short form content and sharing them on these platforms? Because I think what we have seen, and you will see like a lot of artists will say, I got my big break from this short form platform, right? So it means when you have the back end, it's not just like you wake up and you're looking at it and you're like, I have 1 million streams, but I'm only making $5. No, the reason you have those back ends, and at the Orchard, we go as far as having a mobile app so that you have your analytics on the go. What that really helps you is for you to look at your analytics once a week or twice a week to see, did I get any new listeners today? Did, streaming drop because people are not engaged? And that actually helps you, right? Because at the Orchard, this is the part where we say we help you with strategy. Beyond the release day, we will look at your data. If things are starting to chat, we will say, your music looks like it's connecting with a lot of people in the Netherlands, right? Are you doing anything there, or what prompted this, right? We will have a conversation. So maybe because the reason you're chatting is, one, you did a live performance in that market. So we actually end up re-strategizing, and we talk to our team on the other side to see what are the other opportunities to leverage. You don't only talk to your partners when you're releasing music. It's a consistent conversation. Sort of like if you're doing a live performance, this is important information for your distributors, because then they will say, do you have people in Uganda? This artist is actually doing this, right? And then something else to think about is, I know collaboration has always been talked about. Sometimes we go about this the wrong way. Sometimes you are starting out and you want to do collaboration with the top artist in Kenya. I'm sorry, are you going to pay them? Because that is the only reason some people will jump on your track if you are unknown. So when you're starting out, right, you have to identify, my music sounds like which other artists, right? is this artist in Kenya or in Rwanda? Are we at the same level? Are we having the same sort of conversation? If I partnered with this artist, they will introduce me into their ecosystem, and that will lead into listening or opportunities for growth. So just like when you're thinking about collaboration, please sign up and have open conversations with your collaborators so that it's not just like, oh, I will send you a track, you will put your vocals, I will distribute it. Because we've seen even scenarios where sometimes your collaborators are not even aware that you're actually putting that music out. So we end up having copyright infringement claims, which means if you had one album with 12 tracks and it's only one song, you didn't clear or you didn't tell the other collaborator that, this project will be part of this album and it's going out on this day, your entire project gets taken down. So it's really important when you're having these collaborations or any other sort of business decision, you actually have someone on your team that you can have those conversations with and they can support you. Sometimes, when you're running a lot of things, you forget. So it's essential to actually build a team. As I said, the orchard can be an extension of your team, but look at myself looking after the 6 other African countries in the territory. So the much conversation we will have will be really limited if you are looking at me as the starting point of your conversation. We want to help you scale up, but when you're coming to the table, show up as a business person. I do not understand why we think, we can fake in the industry and we will still make it. No, you have to put in the work. It's just like any office job that you would go to. The only thing is you are working in really cool spaces and environments. So you really have to tap into the network, build people, and really, do the work. At the end of the day, if you don't put in the work, if you don't read your analytics, if you don't read your contracts, you will end up in trouble.
Just to add one thing, ask. Kuuliza si ujinga. Ask, how can I get on that playlist? How can I get on that billboard? How can I get to that category? Ask. How can I get on that campaign? Ask. Because when you keep on asking, then from a marketing perspective, you'll be top of mind.
I'm very thankful to have had Martha Huro, Agnes Opondo, and Beth Achitsa on VIP Access this week. We were having a discussion on streaming revenues and music distribution. And guess what? We're not done yet. Part 2 of this conversation will be coming to you on VIP Access next week. So this is what you need to do. I would like to hear from you. If you enjoyed this episode or if you learned something, go over to social media and find Anyiko TV or VIP Access or Anyiko Owoko and leave me with your feedback. If there's an artist who you know who's been struggling with streaming or who is not struggling but wants to level up, please make sure you share this episode with them. We will be back here on VIP Access next week on the part 2 of a conversation we're going to have about streaming revenues and music distribution. Thank you so much for coming through. Excited to let you guys know that our very first event of the year, Industry Talks, will be happening at the Gote Institute this week on Thursday. It's going to be 15th of January, so come through. The discussion of this week will be event production, artist bookings, and fan experience. We have a really great environment where you'll get to meet other industry professionals, not just the experts, and it's going to be fun. I'll be there myself. Cannot wait to see you guys. Ciao. VIP Access Season 5 is proudly supported by the Gote Institute, Nairobi.